Nolan, good to see you. Today we are talking about 3 retirement risks that could cause you to run out of money, which is, of course, every retiree's number one fear. Life expectancies are at an all-time high. Today, a couple at age 65 has a 50% chance of living beyond 90, which brings up our first risk. It is known simply as longevity risk.
Yeah, and Erin, thank you. Longevity risk, or just the risk that you live for a very long time and outlive your money, is one of the most important ones that we do address when doing retirement planning. As you can see with the chart, when you have two people who are both age 65, you have at least a 60% chance of one of them making it over age 90.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, whenever that happens, life circumstances are changing at the same time. You might lose one's Social Security because one spouse may precede the other. But what's really important here is just understanding that the risk of living too long is becoming bigger and bigger. The adjustments to Social Security and income and everything like that try and keep up, but it's a pretty significant risk.
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up because that is our second risk, right? Changes to Social Security. It's very likely that benefits or qualifications will have to change. And I was surprised to learn that among those who rely on Social Security, the benefit makes up 50% of their income.
Yeah, Social Security is a huge portion of most everybody's income in retirement. The significant changes to Social Security that we usually see are good ones. Cost of living adjustments every single year. You kind of see Social Security try and keep pace with inflation, but some changes that may be bad. They continue to extend on and on the point at which you reach full retirement age. So, that is a change that doesn't require too much regulation or legislation, but can impact retirees, especially as they're planning on that money for income. And then I also think if they ever change the formularies on whether or not Social Security is taxed and at what rate, that seems to be something that the federal government wants to make a decision on every couple of years. So I think that's kind of always up for grabs as far as a potential change to Social Security.
Right. Certainly we should plan for it. And our next risk is inflation. As we take a look back at historical inflation rates, and even on this chart, Nolan, 2022 would be off the charts if it were on here. But inflation simply means that you're going to have to spend more of your retirement savings each year to maintain your quality of life.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest hurdles that you really run into when you're a retiree is as the cost of everything continues, but you have a mostly fixed income, how do you make sure that what you get in is enough to make up what you have to put out as far as income? And, inflation is one of those silent portfolio killers. Like when it's low for an extended period of time, it's usually a pretty good thing. But when it's, over 3, 4, 5% for multiple years, it can start to cause some turbulence and some unnecessary volatility in a lot of portfolios, just specifically because of that risk.
So I feel like the good news here is that these risks are at least known, so we can start planning for them. So then what are the specific strategies you recommend to address these risks?
Sure. And like you said, they are known risks. We do know about these. So some of the things that we try and do for people is just create sustainable, well-diversified portfolios that are meant to weather storms like we're going through. So when developing a portfolio for income, it is very important to understand what risks you're taking. You're taking off the longevity risk, hopefully, take off some of the risk of Social Security. But, a lot of times when you're trying to alleviate risk, you use insurances. And so, sometimes when dealing with longevity, inflation, some of these things, annuities, cash value life insurance, some insurances are pretty popular among retirees. And the main thing that they do is they just decrease risk and decrease uncertainty when trying to plan for the next 20 or 30 years. Because there's a very good chance 1 out of 2 retirees is going to make it into their 90s, and you have to plan for a 20 or 30-year retirement at this point.
Right. You want a long life to be nothing but good news, not a stressor. Good point. So Nolan, if somebody has questions about these strategies that you've mentioned, what's the best way to reach you?
Sure. So they can call us at 616-301-2581 or go to cornerstone-rp.com. And then there's a contact us box at the bottom of the homepage.
All right. Nolan, thank you.
Thanks, Erin.